I'm Ruth and welcome to my channel, So Dysfunctional. I hope you're all well. Thank you so much to any of my new subscribers who have joined up in the last few weeks or so. It's really nice to know that you want to come back and see when I've posted things, so thank you. And if you are new to my channel and you would like to see more of the things that I put out when I do, then please do click the subscribe button at any point. It would be great to have you along. So today is a video about my makes from July, and I'm amazed to say that I actually finished the things I had planned to do. I feel like I've achieved an amazing amount and I'm not quite sure how I did it, but I think it's possibly because a lot of the things I was doing actually were not very complicated. So it feels like I've been sewing a lot, but I've got a lot done in the time that I've used as well. I've not had very many fiddly things to do. So let's kick off to start with my Hudson pants. I'll pop in a twirl of me wearing them somewhere either side. I'm never quite sure which way it comes up, but I've got them here for you so you can have a look. So I made these out of fabric that I bought from Flamingo Fabrics online right at the start of the lockdown in the UK. The main fabric is a sweatshirting, so it's fleecy on the inside, and then we've got this large ribbing, orange ribbing. I have to say, first of all, it's washed really well. I've washed them a couple of times already and I expect them to go bobbly quite quickly. I mean, I think they will go a bit bobbly, but it still feels really, really nice. So I'm really pleased with the fabric. To be honest, it's a bit too hot to be wearing them today. Finally, the sunshine has come out. So they're a bit too warm, but they've been great sort of the last couple of weeks of July when it's been a bit miserable and grey. So what can I say about these? I shied away from making the Hudson pants previously because I always thought they looked like they were way too low a rise for me. I like my trousers to come up sort of around my belly button almost. But I decided to buy them recently because I tried another pair of jogging bottoms and I hated the fit. And I thought I wanted something tight fitting around my hips, but actually I don't like jogging bottoms. It looks awful. Because these are described as a loose fitting trouser through the hips that then tapers down to the ankle, I thought they'd be a better fit. So I added 4 centimetres in the end to the rise of these trousers. So they come up 4 centimetres higher than the pattern. I lengthened the back crotch seam. Is that the right word? The seat? The seat? I added to the back seam around my bum. I can't remember exactly, a few centimetres I think I lengthened it by. That seems to be a standard thing that I need to do with trousers. I actually brought the legs out a bit down to the ankle, so I measured around my calf and I decided the size that I was using. I think I made a size 14, which was exactly the right hip measurement for me. When I measured around my calf and I measured the pattern, and I decided that they were actually going to taper a bit more than I really wanted them to. I think if I make some more of these, which I probably will, out of a lighter jersey, I would be happier for them to taper in a bit close to the body, but because it's quite a chunky fabric, I just wanted them to be a bit sort of poofier down to the ankle basically. So I think I added 2 centimetres front and back, so 4 centimetres around the calf, and I just brought the shape of the trouser a bit straighter down from the knee than it tapers on the pattern. So when I'd sewed these up without the waistband on, I sort of held them up on me and I decided that I actually needed to take a little bit in, so I took in quite a chunk up the back. I mean, technically I suppose it's a sort of sway back adjustment. Just from the way they were sitting, they were fitting quite nicely sort of across my bum, but up to my lower back there was a lot of excess fabric, and these trousers are designed to be sort of big around your waist and then you use the waistband to gather them in. But again, because of the fabric being quite chunky, I really didn't want a lot of bulk and gathers around the waist, so I took in a bit on the back seam. When I tried them on, they were kind of bunching in a very unflattering way. down the front and down to my crotch. They were sort of rolling almost, I don't know if I can do it, sort of like that. I mean, it looked a bit hideous. So I took in, I think about 2 centimetres. I sewed all the way down that front seam, and that seemed to take out the excess there that I didn't need. And I think that was most of the adjustments I made to them. Oh no, the other thing I did, so the waistband is designed to be a lot bigger than your waist measurement, and then you're supposed to use your elastic to gather it all in. But again, because this ribbing is really quite chunky, I think it was called large ribbed knit or something on the Flamingo Fabrics website, I really didn't want a lot of extra fabric to gather in. And as you can see, even I tried to cut it basically to my waist measurement, or maybe I even did it a little bit less than my waist measurement. And even then, obviously, I've decided I needed the elastic to be tighter than I thought I would, and it's gathered in a little bit. But I really wouldn't have wanted it to do any more than that. So I can't remember how much smaller my waistband was than the pattern piece, but it was quite a lot smaller. And because this stuff has got so much stretch, I wasn't worried at all about being able to get it on. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with these. They're kind of, I put them on in the morning and I really like them and they're really comfortable, and I sort of go out of the house, and if I occasionally catch sight of myself in a window, I think these trousers are really loud. It's not me to wear very bright colours, but I'm so pleased with how they came out. They just remind me of, I don't know, like 80s kind of loud clothes. They're very comfortable. I mean, I'm sure loads of you have made Hudson pants before, but if you haven't and you've not been sure about making them for any reason, I really would give them a try if you want a jogging bottom pattern. I think next time I will not raise the waistline quite so much. I'm not going to do 4 centimetres. I might try maybe 2 centimetres next time, 2.5 or something, because to be honest, they are a tiny bit higher than I really would like them to be. So that was make number 1. So my second make was the Seamwork Flor cardigan, which I made out of this ribbed jersey. Again, I'll put in a picture or something of me wearing it. So I have a confession to make about this pattern. As you can see, it's got a stitching line down the front, and I don't know whether I just haven't looked at the pattern instructions or whether I don't know what I did, but I assumed that this was a whole doubled over band that was attached to the main piece of the cardigan, which is what you get on the, is it the Blackwood cardigan by Helen's Closet, I think? And that's really what I wanted to have, but it turned out that it's not actually that. It's just got a facing on the inside. And when I realised that, I was worried because I thought that it was quite likely that it perhaps wouldn't sit brilliantly. And I mean, it's pressed out, it's not too bad, but it's not quite as nice as I would want. It's not quite what I wanted, I think, basically, is what I'm saying. And because of the fact that it's a rib knit, it's really easy to see that it's sort of dragging a little bit, so it doesn't quite lie entirely flat. So I sort of, having realised that early on when I was cutting out the pattern, I sort of made me think, oh, I'm not sure this is going to be what I was hoping it was going to be. I graded over 2 sizes from the bust to the hips. I can't remember exactly what they were, but based on my measurements, I had to grade up 2 sizes from bust to hip. I think I probably raised the loops a little bit for the tie, which is fine because, you know, it's got dots on the pattern for where they're meant to go, but you just decide when you get to that stage where you want them to be. And I also did a 2 centimetre large bicep adjustment. Again, I measured the pattern and my bicep, and I wanted to know Oh, I wanted to know that I had enough space to put it over a long sleeve top and not for it to feel very tight around the top of my arm. And that seems fine. I think that worked out quite well for that measurement. I was planning to make another one of these. So this was going to be a sort of trial version, and I was going to make the actual version out of a coral ribbed knit jersey, which I talked about in my July sewing plans. But having made this one, I decided I didn't want to do that because I really like that fabric and I want to do it justice and make the right pattern that I really, really like. And I'm just not quite sure that this is it. Anyway, I have worn this. I don't hate it. I think part of the problem is I'm not really in love with the fabric, and so it just doesn't feel really nice and doesn't quite hang how I would want it to. And you know, just when you've got a fabric that's a bit meh. That's the point of making a wearable toile, I suppose. But it is a bit annoying, isn't it, when you spend that time making it and you're just not quite sure at the end. But I do wear it, and it has been useful because I have, as I said in my last video, I haven't got any long cardigans now because I gave away my maternity ones. So it was a kind of so-so on that one. I'm not sure whether I'll make it again. I couldn't figure out how to turn the faced piece into just adding a band. It was a bit too complicated for me to figure out. So maybe I'll come back to that one day. Oh, it's got paint on it, I've just noticed. Lovely children. So the third thing I made this month was the Elsa dress for my little girl's 4th birthday. Now, I have put up a video about how I made this dress because I sort of drafted it as I went along, and I thought it might be interesting for people to see how I did it, especially if they want to do a similar kind of thing. I just used a free t-shirt pattern. So here it is. I will pop a picture up of the dress and possibly one of her wearing it, though we don't tend to put the kids on social media, so I don't know whether we will, but I'm sorry, it's grim. She basically has taken to wearing it most of the time, so she's eating in it and everything, and I don't want to wash it too much because I'm worried that these lovely sequins will start to come off, so I'm sort of trying to spot clean it a little bit as we go. I was really pleased with how this worked out. It fits her really nicely. It's long enough for her to swoosh around in it, but she, you know, it's not dragging on the floor. The only thing about it, and I was so gutted on her birthday, she wore it for not very long, and the ribbon that I've bound the train with frayed out of the seams, so I've overlocked these bits together on the inside, and basically the vertical threads had all pulled out, and you could see so it's got gold threads going horizontally, and you could see all the gold threads still in the seam, and the ribbon had just frayed out. And that's just because she likes to pick it up and swish it out behind her, and she's obviously pulling on it all the time. So that was a slight design flaw on my part, but I didn't know that that's what she would do, and I didn't know that that was what the ribbon would do. So I put out a plea on Sewing in the UK, I think it's called, on Facebook. It's their Facebook group. It's got thousands and thousands of members, so I knew that someone would come up trumps with an answer. So I just said, what do I need to do to fix this? Because I thought that maybe I could sort of do a botched job and like put an applique on it and stitch it on, and it would all be fine. But someone suggested unpicking it, patching it up with a piece of ribbon, and singeing the edges of the ribbon. So you basically melt either end of the ribbon in the hopes that then that won't fray. So I cut a piece about 3 inches long, and I singed it just with a match at both ends, and then I pressed it in half like the rest of the ribbon is, turned it under on this side and attached it over, having unpicked this seam. So I sewed that on all the way up, and then I also sewed this down here, so when she's pulling on it, it's pulling there rather than pulling at the seam now. I also have overstitched, you can see possibly just there, I've stitched it down on the inside, and I also rather than chopping off them. So I didn't overlock. You can see it's a bit of a mess now because this was all beautifully overlocked. So I haven't overlocked it again. I've just stitched it on the sewing machine and done a zigzag stitch to hopefully stop any fraying from happening. And then I've just turned the ribbon in and on itself rather than chopping it off, because of course I've singed the ends of it. So I'm really hoping that that is going to make it relatively indestructible for its lifetime, however long that is, however long she's obsessed with Frozen and wants to be Elsa. A quick other extra thing that I did for her, which I didn't talk about in the July plans video, was I made her an apron. So I made my little boy an apron for his 2nd birthday out of some car fabric, using a tutorial that I found online for just making a kid's apron. I'll find that and I'll link it below. And I sized it up for her, but I'm afraid I didn't measure her properly. I just sort of guessed a little bit, and that was slightly fatal. So as you can see, this has got a hairball around it at the moment because the neck band is a bit too long. But it's cool though, it's got elastic in it, so you can just pull it over their heads, which is cool. So this is the apron. It's got a pocket, and she was very specific when I said did she want an apron for her birthday as well. She said she wanted an Elsa and a Moana apron. So I got an Elsa applique iron-on thing from eBay, and I got a Moana one, and it's a reversible apron, and I think it don't look too hard. It's got chocolate ice cream on it. But yes, it's not got a pocket on that side, but Elsa's coming out of the pocket that side, and it's got ties. It was really, really simple make, super, super simple. But great, because they didn't have their own aprons. So that also means now that we can do a bit more baking together if we want and not worry about getting covered in flour and cocoa powder and everything. So my 4th make was the Deer and Doe Plantain t-shirt. I said in the last video that I wanted to make some t-shirts and I hadn't decided on patterns, but I went for Plantain t-shirt and another one I'll show you in a minute. So here it is. Again, I'll do a little video or picture or something of me wearing it. I had planned to make this out of a slightly drapier jersey, but I decided when I looked at the pattern and how it was going to fit that actually I'd probably be better off with a sort of cotton jersey with a bit more structure. So I rummaged in my scraps and sort of remnants box, and I pulled out this fabric. Now, I bought this fabric a long time ago from Sew Over It, and I made some little dungarees, knit dungarees for my little girl when she was a baby. And I had about 80 centimetres of this left. So with a little bit of crafty pattern moving around, I got this t-shirt out of it. So this is a free pattern. You just have to sign up to the Deer and Doe mailing list. I think that's what you have to do to get sent the files for it. It's got quite a low scooping neckline on the pattern, so I actually raised the neckline by 2 inches. I had to resize the neckband as a result. What else did I change? I did a 2 centimetre large bicep adjustment again just on the hem of the sleeve, and I graded, I think, between a size 38 and a 42, which was technically the right size for my bust, but as you will possibly see from the video that I show you of me wearing it, the t-shirt pulls a little bit here. Now, I think Deer and Doe patterns are made to a C cup, which means that the difference between your high bust measurement, sort of up over the top of your breasts, around the back of your back, and your full bust measurement, which is sort of the standard measurement that you would do for a pattern. A C cup is 3 inches, I think, so the A cup is 1 inch difference, B cup's 2 inches, C cup's 3 inches, and I think Deer and Doe patterns are drafted to C cup. But I barely make an A cup. I mean, I'm slightly less than 1 inch difference. I've got quite a big breastbone and quite big shoulder blades, I think. So basically my high bust measurement is much closer to my full bust measurement than someone who's better endowed than I am. So I wonder whether I'm getting that dragging because what I should have done is cut a larger size and done a small bust adjustment so that I had more space around the top, and then still roughly the same bust size. It doesn't feel tight, but I mean, as in like I can get it on fine and wear it fine. But I suppose possibly it does feel a little bit snug across my back, my shoulder blades. So maybe that's what I should have done. If you have seen this in a t-shirt before, these weird drag lines, and you know it's this, please leave me a comment and let me know. Or even if you don't know, but you could would like to hazard a guess or give me some thoughts. I don't think I did a bad job of the sewing. I can't see why it would be dragging because of the way I sewed it, although it definitely does drag more on one side than the other. I'm not sure, but if you do have any ideas, do let me know. Ooh, I sewed the hem of the sleeve before stitching up the side seam. So normally when you do a knit garment, often you sew in the sleeve flat and then you sew up the side seams and up the sleeve, and then you would hem the sleeve after that. But I find that quite fiddly, and it's much easier to hem a t-shirt sleeve or whatever when it's flat before you put it in. So that's what I did. I hemmed it first, then sewed up the side seam and up through the sleeve. Then I hemmed the bottom in the round, as you're supposed to. And then I also just do a little bit of top stitching so that you anchor the seam pressed to the back underneath on that sleeve seam. If you look at most ready to wear t-shirts, well, if you look at a lot of ready to wear t-shirts, that is definitely the method they use, because they often have that top stitching down under the sleeve. So yeah, I was really pleased with it. It's very comfy, even though it's, you know, it's got that weird dragging, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. If I make it again, well, I'm sure I will make it again. I will see if I can adjust the bodice somehow. Do let me know, please do let me know if you've got any ideas for that. But other than that, very straightforward. So highly recommend the pattern, especially as it's free. And yeah, it seems to have gone well, so I'm pleased with that. So my last make is the one that I'm wearing, and that is the Mandy Boat Tee by Tessuti Fabrics. Another free pattern. Again, you possibly have to sign up to a mailing list or something, I can't remember. I found this pattern because I saw a review of it on Jane's channel. She is on Loopy Mabel's Closet. I'll link her channel down below. Yeah, so she's done a whole series reviewing free top patterns, I think, so far just top patterns. And this was one of them, and I saw it and thought, oh, that looks really nice. I like it a lot. It's very wide, loose fitting, designed to be made in a drapey fabric. So that's what I've done, and I'm really pleased with how it's worked out. It's designed as a 3/4 or full length sleeved top. But as you can see, I decided to do a short sleeved version of it. So basically what I've done is not added the sleeve as a drop shoulder. It's then obviously just got a tube piece for the sleeve. So after much faffing, I was going to try and do a cuff. I couldn't quite figure out how to make it work. In the end, I decided to just make basically a binding. I can't call it a bias binding because I didn't cut it on the bias, but it effectively does the same thing because obviously a knit fabric will stretch anyway. So I just added this binding to the armhole when it was still flat, not sewn up at the side seams. Just attached it, turned it under, stitched it down with a zigzag stitch. Then I sewed up the side seams. Job done. Yeah, and I'm really pleased with how it's worked out. I think I graded from a size 1 to a size 2, from the bust to the hips. And I also made the armhole a size 2 rather than a size 1, just to make sure I had enough flex and it wasn't going to be tight around my arms, my biceps and stuff. And I don't think I did anything else to it, but I really, really like it. And what I'm thinking of doing is using the coral ribbed knit jersey that I didn't use to make a second Flor cardigan, and turning that into one of these, but with either the 3/4 or the full length sleeve, that I can use as just a light sort of summer jumper you can wear over vest tops, chuck over a t-shirt to keep me warm when it's, you know, on the cool evenings. So yeah, I think I might do that because I really, really like this pattern. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. So a thumbs up to Tessuti Fabrics. Thank you for your free pattern. So that's all of my makes from July. I can't believe I've managed to do, including the apron, 6 things. I can only put it down to the fact that the t-shirts and the apron and stuff were really quick sews. Just, you know, a few hours and they were done. I don't think I've ever made this many things in 1 month before. So I'm really, really pleased that I had a plan and I managed to get through it all. August is probably going to be a bit of a quieter month for me. We're going away for a week, and I just feel like I haven't spent very much time with my husband in the evenings. I've sort of been squirreling myself upstairs and sewing like mad to get all these things done. So I definitely won't be making as much in August, but there will be a plans video coming out soon. I'm also taking part in the Sew a Top challenge, which has been set by Claire at Penguin and Pear. I'll tell you more about that in the August plans video. But until then, thanks so much for watching today. Please do like this video if you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment if you've got anything that you'd like to chat about. Oh, and do let me know if you've got any thoughts about the Plantain tee from Deer and Doe, whether I need to choose a bigger size and do a small bust adjustment to make it fit a bit better across the top of my shoulders and my chest, or any other ideas that you might have about that one. And please do subscribe if you'd like to see when my next video comes out. It'll be really nice to have you along again. Thanks so much for watching today, and I will hopefully see you soon. Bye!